Imagine a man liking you so much he flies you out to see him, only to see your confirmation number is with Spirit Airlines? What's the issue? He's spending his money to fly you out? That sounds really nice of him. Sure hope you said thank you.
Because in his words, sweetie, you need to stop spending so much money on DoorDash. Ordering it 3 times a day is not appropriate, and we need to start living within our means. Honey, it sounds like you have an income problem, not that I have a spending problem.
Men work really hard for what they bring to the table, and if you're relying on a man's income, the least you can do is try to save money wherever possible. That might mean learning skills like cooking and cleaning and doing your hair and nails yourself. So many men work extremely hard every single day, and asking him to work even more is just a lot. Why am I not surprised? Now some men get shamed for how they walk? Men aren't allowed to walk? I know this feeling way too well. That's why even if the first date is awkward, I often give the guy a second date if there were no serious red flags. Because how often do first dates actually go really well? Like, come on. I think it's pretty sad that it's become so shamed to cook for your man as a woman. Like, are you serious? Cooking is a great skill to have. Everybody should have it. The fact that so many women just choose to not learn how to cook because they don't want to be seen like that is just silly to me. You don't want to make sure he's fed? A healthy meal? Come on.
Gorgeous girls get stood up by ugly, ugly men.
Gorgeous, gorgeous girls don't need to go on dates with ugly, ugly men. They can go on dates with men that they actually find attractive. So when they get stood up, they were stood up by an attractive man. Right? I don't think anybody should ever let themselves go. We should always try with our appearance. Just because you won them over doesn't mean you permanently get to keep them under any circumstance. Isn't this the truth? That's why I would rather just work. Because if we both work, we can then both spend time together. Besides, I would never feel good about having a man pay all of the bills. I expect to contribute in my relationships financially.
When a man goes to work all day to support his family, that's sacrifice, even though he would be doing that anyway as a single person.
Yeah, but as a single person, he wouldn't have to make as much money. He could maybe just, do the 40 hours a week, pay all his bills, and maybe have a little bit to spare. But with a family, he has to earn a lot more. So he's probably looking at 50, 60 hours a week.
And gives up her career and frankly her safety net and possibly her passion to stay home and raise your children and manage your household, not to mention carrying your kids for 9 months and birthing them. That's not a sacrifice.
I agree, that's also a sacrifice. But I do think staying at home, managing the household, taking care of the kids, is kind of the better end of the deal if you guys don't end up breaking up. You get to watch your kids grow up, you get to spend more time with them. And I know there's a lot of men out there who would give anything for that. And now obviously if you guys don't work out, you're in a bad spot because you'll be behind on getting another job. But I also think it's important to note, a lot of women aren't forced into this. You could say no. I have trouble believing that all these women are just like, oh man, I don't want to, and then her husband forces her. So you could realistically keep your career, and you both could share the household duties and take care of the kids, and you could help pay 50% of the bills, which would relieve some financial stress off of him. So there are ways, but I don't like that so many women hold it against the man that, oh, I stay home with the kids, I gave up my career. Were you forced to? Probably not. You willingly did it. So take responsibility for that. I know there are men out there who, if given the opportunity, would trade roles. She goes to work and provides, he stays home and takes care of the kids.
If a guy told you that you spent too much money at the restaurant on your first date, so he didn't want to go out with you again, would you understand where he's coming from financially, or would you be offended?
I'd be completely understanding. I was always taught that if you're going out to a restaurant with somebody and you don't know for sure that you're going to be the one paying, or if you're not going to pay for your own stuff, then you should always get the cheaper things on the menu, and you should always get water and not drinks.
If you want a woman that cleans like your mother and take care of you like your mother and cleans after you like your mother, you should get rid of your father and marry your mother. Who said that?
So if a man wants to be taken care of by his wife, girlfriend, or whatever, that means he wants to be with his mother? If he wants domestic stability, there's a problem with that too. But it's okay for women to ask for money and a provider mindset from a man. He can't want what his dad had in a relationship, but it's okay if you expect him to do everything that your father once did for you. Or maybe these things are a way of showing care towards your partner. If he had a loyal, nurturing, loving, hardworking mother that cared about how he felt and how he was doing, yeah, he's going to be looking for a partner like that. And if he didn't have that, he might even care more about those qualities. Men aren't looking for like a housemaid or a servant or a doormat. They want a woman that can turn a house into a home he can come to after a rough day at work and experience peace. He's not reducing you down to your ability to clean the house. But some toxic women will reduce a man down to his wallet and objectify him based on that. Asking to be cared for is too much of an ask? Really?
Why on God's green earth would you raise women with the concept that Prince Charming is gonna come and he's just gonna save you and it's gonna be all love and something that doesn't exist? It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Like, they're all liars. They're all demons. They're all like foul. They don't have souls. Like, where is this Prince Charming at? Like, why would you lie to us?
Oh, I agree, because it makes our expectations go sky high and are unrealistic. And it also teaches you to rule out some of the great men that might not be perfect on the first date. Because it's like, oh, I didn't feel massive butterflies. Deal breaker. Ghosted. But here's the reality. Would you really watch a movie where, the woman's going 50-50 with her man, they're building a relationship, actively building, and instead of the excitement and such, they're having those conversations. It's not like wishy-washy, you don't know what they're thinking, because they're both up front and having a healthy relationship. If you think about it, that stuff doesn't sell, because it's a lot less exciting, but it's the best way to be in life, because the stability part is important. I understand your frustration, though, on not wanting to be lied to about that type of thing, but the reality is you really wouldn't want a relationship like that long term, because it would bring so much chaos and stress into your life.
Normalize telling your boss you have a dentist appointment when really you're about to go hook up with a guy, because that's what I'm about to do. And I look a little disheveled coming back. I will tell them I had a root canal.
Imagine if a man did this, he would be called a dog or a pervert or some other words that are terrible. But she's acting like this is cute and funny. Why don't you be honest with your boss and see how he reacts? I feel like this just really displays your overall integrity. And I feel like 5-10 years from now, we're going to be seeing videos being like, where have all the good men gone?
Why would you spend your days worried if your man's cheating? You could spend your days worried that your man is going to find out that you're cheating.
Or get this, you can avoid wasting yours and his time by not cheating at all. By not being in a relationship if you can't be loyal. Yeah, it's so easy. It's really that simple.